I'm Tom Cooper, Executive Director of Sandestin Owners Association, and you're watching Tom Talks.
Welcome to Tom Talks. This episode, first of all, we hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving and now gearing up for the Christmas holiday. Today we're going to talk about the SOA Lakes. We did a manager's moment back in 2021. I think it was in December actually, that did a pretty deep dive into our lake system, and over the course of this summer with the weather that we faced, we had a lot of questions about the conditions of the lake. So I thought we'd just bring this back up just a little bit, little refresher on our lake system. So they're not just fish ponds. There's 85 lakes in Sandestin, consisting over 200 surface acres. That's about 9.5% of the total property. And they're part of a master stormwater system. It's kind of a misnomer that we have lakes, but yes, we do have lakes, but those lakes are part of the master stormwater system that eventually drains out into Choctawhatchee Bay. Something you may not know is the stormwater from Highway 98, some of it from Topsail, some from Silver Sands and Grand Boulevard, use our networks by design. It's not something that someone cheated. It's kind of by design. So what purpose do our lakes serve? Well, like I said, they're our master stormwater treatment network. They're also a source of irrigation. We irrigate from several of the lakes on property, and also obviously aesthetics. And that's the key thing to remember is as much as we try to keep the lakes beautiful, Kyle Ray, our property manager, and his team, they do a tremendous job fighting the elements to try to keep our lakes beautiful. But there's a lot of different parts of the puzzle to keep those lakes beautiful, and like humans, each lake has a health of its own, and the condition of the lake depends on the depth of the lake, the location of the lake, whether it's down into the aquifer, if there's a little bit of spring water coming into it. So if it's a lake that's just sand bottom, and it's not very deep, through evaporation and heat and just runoff, eventually those lakes tend to get even lower and more shallow, which leads to the ability for weeds to grow, or algae to form, and it just makes it look ugly. So do our best to try to keep those lakes pristine for you. Here's kind of a general map of how the stormwater networks work. Like I said earlier, all the lakes eventually flow and are interconnected and flow out to Choctawhatchee Bay. This is the north network. Believe it or not, everything on the south side of property, Beach Walk area, all those lakes flow north under Highway 98, under the tunnel, and out to the first lake behind the Welcome Center as you come through the main gate, and eventually run off into the bay. This is the western side of the property over around Audubon Drive and Linkside. Those flow and connect and flow out to the east, if you will, of North Shore. There's a dam there. We call it the Turtle Dam. That's the outflow for the west side of property. And this is basically the north side. Several points from the north side eventually make their way out to Choctawhatchee Bay. And we talked a little bit about the irrigation element. As a result of the development of the lakes, we're able to take advantage of some of them for our irrigation needs. We have a well over by Linkside, it's along, I believe, number 1 Links. We have one at the entrance to Club Drive. We have one in Arrowhead, and we have one in Crystal Lake. We also recently completed the Reclaim Water project, which helps offset the use of groundwater and the water from those lakes. We pump about 1 million gallons a day out of the Reclaim pump. So here are our primary pump station locations. You've got the North Pump Station, the South Pump Station, Club Drive, the Arrowhead, and Crystal Lake. We use lake water at all 5 of those locations. The biggest thing that we focus on is trying to protect our lake system, and we've got many elements working against us. This is not by any way, shape, form, or fashion a dig on the golf course or any private landscaper or commercial landscaper, but anytime you fertilize your lawn and then come behind that and irrigate and or a rain comes, the potential for that fertilizer to run off to the lakes is high. And as much as the fertilizer will fertilize and green up your yard, it will also fertilize and green up the algae in the pond. So then we have to come back and spray chemicals on those weeds. We're limited in the chemicals that we can spray simply because, like I said, the water does eventually go out into the bay, so it is a natural resource that we have to maintain. Also, grass. When you're blowing your yard and you blow your clippings out into the road and then think you're doing good just by blowing it into the drain, well, you're not. So please make sure your landscapers know that when they mow and they blow to rake it up and haul it away, please don't blow it into our drains. The golf course is being very proactive with the SOA and avoiding clippings going into the lakes, and we certainly appreciate their collaboration on that. It's not perfect, but they're doing their best. A lot of the maintenance activities that we undertake at the SOA, Kyle's team, is aeration. These are the aerators put air into the lakes, and that aids in the health of the lake. We go in and we hand rake a lot of places where we can't get our equipment in. That's a lot of stuff that is done by hand. We also have in the past conducted dredging activities. Dredging is good because it gets sediment off the bottom back to the natural bottom, which increases the depth of the lake. And the deeper the lake, the less likely the sun is to penetrate to the bottom, which reduces the algae growth. We spray herbicides and algicides. Again, we have to be very careful in how and when we spray. Certain lakes cannot be sprayed. Kyle's team is very well educated on the application of these pesticides and these herbicides and these algicides. We also have the weed harvester. We did a Tom Talks on our new weed harvester. You can see it there. This is a fundamental piece of our equipment that helps us to get in certain lakes. We can't get in every lake, but we can get in certain lakes, and this helps us a lot in keeping those lakes pristine as we can. Your SOA Lakes team worked tirelessly against the odds to maintain the aesthetics and health of our lake system. And if at the end of the day, if everybody does their fair share and their part and we all work together, yes, we're fighting odds, but we can maintain a healthy fishery too. And there's several homeowners that call me and call Kyle and what can we do to keep our bass population up? And I can tell you that the bass are going to go where it's healthy. And so if they're in one lake today and that lake turns sour, then they're going to go to another one. They're not dumb, they're pretty smart. But anyway, that's a Cliff's Notes version of our lake system. And again, there's a longer version, a manager's moment we did a couple years ago if you want to refer back to that. And as always, if you have a subject that you would like me to talk about, please don't hesitate to let us know here at the SOA, and we look forward to speaking with you again.